For more on this, let's bring in Julia Roknifard, a senior lecturer at the School of Law and Governance at Taylor's University. She joins us now from Kuala Lumpur. Thanks very much for being with us. Now, we saw from those pictures in Tehran, huge crowds of people gathered for the funerals of those military leaders who died. This is, of course, sending a message, a show of unity. But in the past, as we know, there have been protests in Tehran recently. Is there still a sense that there's a gap between the people and the regime underneath all of this show of unity that we're seeing?
Yes, definitely. The gap is still there. It didn't go away as a consequence of the war, of this 12-day war between Israel and Iran. Of course, the war helped people to rally around the flag a little bit. But we can't say the situation can be compared to, for example, the Iran-Iraq war, where the resurgence of nationalism among Iranians, including families sending their kids to war, was enormous. Compared to that, I think people in Iran were more preoccupied with the death of civilians. But at the same time, of course, we should note that the Israeli attack did not mobilize people to rally against the regime, against the incumbent power, because still by the majority in Iran, it was seen as an attack at Iran as a whole, at the motherland. And hence, people had this sense of devotion to the land, to the nation, not as much to the leadership. And among those who today came for the burial of the military commanders and others in multiple cities in Iran who died as a result of this war, it's 600 plus people, 627, I think. Majority of them probably are the supporters of the incumbent power. However, you could also probably see people, since it's also a public holiday, they are just laymen who are also joining the processions as a sign of solidarity. Though the majority of those in the streets, of course, will be the supporters of the incumbent power in Iran.
Mm-hmm. And the question of whether Iran's nuclear program was obliterated or not is a contentious one, as we've seen over the last few days. How does that factor in to any future negotiations between Iran and the United States?
As your colleagues just said, we've heard from Ayatollah Khamenei in his latest address and from the foreign minister Abbas Araghchi that Iran is ready for continuing negotiations. Probably with this sense given to the United States, to Trump in particular, now that that's all right. So the Iran nuclear program had experienced a setback. So he would also feel like it's the time to return to negotiations. So Iran is ready to do that. However, they urged the American administration to put an end to this disrespectful tone. And I guess the expectation there is as a trust-building measure, they would expect less lies coming from the American administration, how it was done, the deception campaign that was done by Trump when he said first that he needs to think about striking Iran, and then he actually did. So it looks like Iran, especially judging by also the purely symbolic strike at the American base in Qatar, Iran is ready to settle this issue, to move on, because indeed, as coming from your first question, those in power must be worried also what would be the fallout of the war domestically. How would people see the condition nowadays, because it was already pretty bad economically, the rising cost of living and an inability of the government to supply to the people. And it is going to get only worse after this, with also resources needing to be channeled to rebuilding probably Iran's regional network of influence, and also rebuilding the missile program.
Good to talk to you, Julia Roknifard. Thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you.